The Cloud Flight S and the Arctis 7 2019 are both great wireless gaming headsets, but which one is right for you? What's going on? Today I'm going to try to help you answer that question. We're looking at the Cloud Flight S from HyperX and the Arctis 7 2019 from Steelseries. Time codes for everything will be down in the description, so feel free to jump around if there's something specific that you're trying to find out. Usual disclaimer, I bought both these headsets with my own money and I used them both for about 2 weeks apiece before filming this review. So go ahead and hit that like button, smash that sub button, and let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, on my left we've got the HyperX Cloud Flight S, and on my right the Steelseries Arctis 7 2019. For simplicity's sake, in this video this will be the HyperX or Cloud Flight, and this will be the Steelseries or Arctis 7. Let's start off with a quick tour of these headsets. We'll start with the HyperX Cloud Flight S. I don't know if you can hear that or not when I pick this up. You know, when you turn these and snap them into place, you hear a little click. Not a big deal, to someone to be aware of. So this is just a matte black finish. At the top we got a nice little HyperX logo that you'll never see when you're wearing these. On the right ear cup we got nothing, just a nice little HyperX logo, and then we have a volume wheel on the bottom of the ear cup. Over on the left we got that same matte black material, but we have these little indentations. Those are programmable buttons, more on that here in just a minute though. On the bottom of the ear cup we got our power button, simulated 7.1 surround button, charging port, and our microphone, which is detachable. Love it or hate it, that's how it is. We do also have a little battery indicator there, which you probably won't be able to see. On the microphone itself, we have this nice little, I guess see-through-ish ring, transparent ring, that'll light up red when the microphone is muted. So that's a nice little touch. Ear cups themselves are pretty big. They are this like faux leather material, which will create a better seal around the ear cup, but it will be hotter for longer gaming sessions, so keep that in mind. We got some padding here on the top of the headband, and then, you know, your normal headset adjustments. And this does adjust very easily, so keep that in mind. We'll come back to that here a little bit later. On to the Steelseries. Again, this nice flat black look. We'll talk about this headband here in just a second when I talk about the overall comfort of these two headsets. Nothing on the right ear cup itself except for the name Steelseries. We do get our power button. We have a little battery indicator there as well. We have a chat and game volume mix, which is nice. More on that here in just a bit. And then over on the left ear cup, we get a mute button, our master volume control wheel, a mini USB port, a nice little headphone port if you want to use these as, you know, actual headphones, our micro USB charging port, and the microphone itself, which is retractable instead of detachable, but also has a microphone mute indicator here on the end of the microphone. Ear cup wise, again, we've got some nice big ear cups. These are more of a circular shape versus the HyperX, which are more of like an oval. I don't know if you guys can see that here on the video or not, but the other big difference is these are a mesh material, whereas the HyperX are like that faux leather. So what that means is the HyperX will have a better seal, but these will be more breathable for those longer gaming sessions. Neither one is necessarily better or worse, it's just about personal preference. So let's talk about comfort. For me, overall, Steelseries take the cake pretty easily. I like having that mesh ear cup. It was a lot more comfortable if I was gaming for, you know, even an hour, especially if the room's hotter, it's the summer. I live in Florida now, so that's definitely a big thing. This headband itself was really comfortable for me. I've got a really small head, but I found this headband really comfortable. Something to note though, if you've got a big head, this might not be the way to go, because you can't really adjust this. Now, in my last video, people were saying, yeah, you can too adjust this. Look, you just take this little Velcro strap and you move the Velcro down a little bit. But what that'll end up doing is instead of using the, you know, gravity to have these sit on your head nice, this pushes that band pretty much all the way up against this piece of metal. And that piece of metal, all you've got is like this little rubber strip here to help, you know, have your head not be sore after wearing these for a while. And I don't know about you, but in my book, that really doesn't count as having a true adjustment like you do here on the HyperX. With that said, I did find these a lot more comfortable, but I don't have the biggest head in the world, so take that with a grain of salt. Another big difference in the comfort department and how these are going to wear day to day. Look at how they're sitting right now. You've probably seen people wear these around their neck. You know, they get up from their desk, go to the fridge or whatever, don't want to take these off, leave these around their neck. And there's obviously much more room around your neck on the HyperX than on the Steelseries. Now again, not a big deal for me because I don't know if you can tell, I'm a pretty skinny dude. So for me, these were a little bit tight around my neck, but were fine. They weren't really bothersome. It was just kind of weird and took some getting used to. Now, something else of note, even though the HyperX sit wider, these adjust really easily. So what that means for me at least is when I put them around my neck, these would often adjust when I didn't want them to. So when I put them back on my head, I had to redo my adjustment, which for me was a pain in the butt. It kind of defeated the purpose of putting them around my neck in the first place, you know. Maybe that doesn't annoy you, just something to consider. The last little note that I have on comfort is the mute button on the microphone. So here on the HyperX, like I said, you can program these buttons, which we'll talk about here more in just a bit. But I made one of the buttons my mute button. So when I was wearing the headset, if you're thinking about wearing these, you know, I'm pushing on the side of my head. It wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world, but it also wasn't a big deal. Compare that with the Steelseries, where you have the mute button here on back, and you have these different ear cups that don't create, you know, the same kind of seal around your ear. And whenever I pushed the mute button, it felt like I was just, you know, kind of shoving the headphone around my ear. You know, again, not the end of the world. I still thought the Arctis 7 were a lot more comfortable. Just a couple things to consider when you're looking at both of these. Next up, overall features, hardware-wise. Well, I do like that the SteelSeries has this chat and game mix. You know, if I'm playing Counter-Strike and I'm trying to clutch, I can easily mute my friends by just turning down the Discord volume all the way right here from the headset. The Cloud Flight S with these programmable buttons just give you a lot more flexibility to really customize the headset to you. So for that, I have to give the nod to the HyperX. When we talk about software features though, this just completely flips. It's nice that HyperX is including some software this time around instead of just having their headset be plug and play. It definitely looks like they're taking steps forward to make this a solid offering, but the SteelSeries is just much more mature in that department as far as the software suite goes. And for that, software features, go to the Arctis 7. Now the most important thing is probably sound, so what do I think of the sound on both of these? I thought they sounded very similar. I thought the Cloud Flight S had that, kind of stereotypical HyperX profile as far as sound goes, a little bit more bass heavy, but gunshots and things like that, at least in Counter-Strike, sounded super tinny. Like the gunshots, the footsteps, somebody fires off an op, if you guys know what that is, it just sounded tinny, it just didn't sound right on the Cloud Flight. On the SteelSeries, it sounded much more natural, sounded much more, I guess, realistic, or I guess how I would expect it to sound in the game. Footsteps were just as easy to pick up on both headsets, but I gravitated towards the sound on the SteelSeries more and more the more that I used both of these headsets. So overall sound for me, the SteelSeries takes the cake. Sound quality is subjective though, so you may like the way the HyperX sound better, I like the way the SteelSeries sound better. Neither one of them are bad, just for me, the Arctis 7 got the nod. Now in that same vein, let's talk about mic quality. Alright, so here's a sample of the microphone on the HyperX Cloud Flight S. As you can see, it's not bad, kind of has that gamery sound to it. I haven't adjusted anything at all, I just, hooked it up to Audacity and started recording to give you guys a little sample of what you can expect from this thing as far as the mic quality goes. Here's what the microphone sounds like on the Arctis 7 2019. I can't really tell a difference between the two. I don't know if you guys can pick it up or not, but to me they both just sound like, gaming headset microphones. Nothing special, but it'll get the job done. Next up, battery life. So the Cloud Flights have a higher rating as far as battery life goes. They're rated at 30 hours versus 24 on the SteelSeries. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to do a 24-hour gaming session or a 30-hour gaming session, so I didn't test both of these straight. But what I can say is it seemed like the Cloud Flight S always had more battery on them than the SteelSeries did. Your mileage is definitely going to vary on that, things like how loud you have the headset going, how many days you're going between the headsets, how many straight hours you're playing, etc. Those are all going to affect it, but the Cloud Flight did definitely seem like it had better battery life. The Cloud Flight also has wireless charging, which for me doesn't matter, but for some of you it might, so just one more reason to like the battery better on the Cloud Flights. Lastly, the wireless performance and overall wireless range. So sitting at your desk, they're fine, but using that example from earlier of, hey, what if you get up to go to the refrigerator to grab a drink, which one has the better range? That's also going to vary a bit depending not only on how many walls you have to pass through, but also how old your house is. Is it just drywall, or do you have like cinder block walls or something like that? Now from my desk to my fridge was a straight shot of about 30 feet. Both of these got me to my fridge, but once I opened the door and bent down to get a drink, the Cloud Flight started to cut out, just with that little interference of the fridge door, whereas the SteelSeries stayed strong. Now to try to find another method of testing, I also walked out my front door, so I had the door in the way from my desk to the door to, out of my yard, and the SteelSeries also had a longer range there with some interference in the way. So if wireless range is a big deal for you, I think the Arctis 7 win again, but that is going to really vary depending on your specific layout, how old your house is, etc. Once again, both of these are great wireless gaming headsets. For me though, I have to go with the Arctis 7 2019 as my pick for the better headset of the two. It was just more comfortable for me, I thought it sounded better, and in my experience you can find it a little bit cheaper, so that's also a big plus. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button down below and drop me a like, it really helps. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.